I'm on location here at the Mexican-American border. This is Donald Trump in action. He's building the wall right here. So I'll keep you posted on Donald Trump's wall. Hi, I'm Nick Shell. And to get the full effect of this video, I suggest you open up another YouTube window and play Metallica's song, Master of Puppets. It's, I think, over 7 minutes long, which, let's be honest, that's probably about how long this video would be. If you're lucky, it'll be at least that long or that short. Master of Puppets. Let's talk about it. Let's talk how it relates to you. What I feel is an ongoing theme of my videos about hair loss is that we're slaves to our hair loss. So let me ask you, in the year 2017, are you a slave to your hair loss? Are you a slave, maybe more importantly, are you a slave to your hairline? Could be maybe the better question here. And it's interesting because that song by Metallica, by the way, Master of Puppets, it does a really just good poetic job of explaining that relationship between slave and master. And it's funny because in the song, most of the song is the slave master talking to the slave. Now, my understanding of the song is it's someone who's struggling with drug addiction, because he talks about cutting his breakfast on the mirror. So my understanding, he's talking about drugs, and that person is a slave to the drug of choice. And what you see in this song is, most of the song, it is the drug, the master, talking to his slave, the person who's addicted to the drug, basically telling him how, you know, I'm pulling all your strings, I'm in charge of you, I own you. And then at the end of the song, as it gets towards the end, you hear the slave, the person who is addicted to the drugs, trying to fight back, trying to say, you know what, yeah, you are making my life miserable, I don't like this. But in the very end, when the song ends, it's the master talking again. The master knows that he still is in control. And the irony of this song is that the whole time, if the slave master was willing to break free, he could, but he doesn't. But he remains a slave. He doesn't care enough to fight, to do what it takes to be free, to make himself free, because after all, it's his own prison that he's put himself in by this drug addiction. I'm not here to say that fighting drug addiction is easy. I'm not here to say that. But ultimately, I think that song is such a great metaphor for so many things that people become enslaved to. And they become used to it. They become comfortable with it. By default, they're comfortable because they're not willing to do what it takes to get past it. Now, fortunately for today, hopefully, you're not struggling with drug addiction. Instead, you're struggling with the fact that you are possibly a slave to your hairline. And so that's one of the reasons I like to do this channel, is because I know that it helps people with that. Because until we're willing to address the fact that we are enslaved to this, then we're not going to get better. I talked about that a couple days ago, that it's a matter of, just like with depression, you can take medications the rest of your life, and that's fine, do it. But until you attack the root issue, you know, what happened to you as a child? What did they do to you? What happened? I've learned that a lot of times there's some kind of wound somewhere that happened long ago that caused a person to be limited in their thinking and their ability to see joy in the world and all this stuff, and to overcome it. And that's what I think a lot of people, and I'm not saying this in a bad way to you, but I think, and let's just say all of us, I think all of us to some degree give that power to our hair loss, to be our master. And we're their slave. They're pulling our strings. We wake up in the mirror, we wake up in the morning, we look in the mirror and we see, oh man, look. Oh, look at that. You know, I don't do that anymore, but I'm saying it's easy to do that, and to cater your thoughts, because think about that. What you think about is what you value. What you talk about is what you value, okay? So what you think about is ultimately going to consume you, especially if you think about it on a daily basis. Even though you're not talking about it to your peers, still, I know your secret because you're subscribing and watching my channel here. And so ultimately my goal is for you to stop watching my videos, not because you think that I'm a sellout, but because you think, you know what? I finally got to the point where I realized I was the one who refused to break free of these chains of slavery of allowing myself to believe that my life is being held back by hair loss. Okay, and I know what you're saying, but Nick, we've talked about this, Nick. That's you right now. Nick, you're 36, you're married, you got 2 kids, you got a career. You don't know what it's like being 20 and still trying to meet girls. When I'm young, that's when my looks matter the most. I can't argue with that. But what I can argue with, and I firmly believe this, that's one of the major benefits I have of making these videos and sharing this with you. That's one of the benefits you have, is hearing me talk about how important it is to not focus on your hair to begin with, because that's the thing. If it's holding you back because you're letting it, then that's the whole point. If you can find a way to not let it hold you back, and I'd say the best way is to focus on what you can control, which is often the case. When people find themselves bound in some form of slavery, such as drug abuse, or even obsessed with hairlines, what happens is there's a way out, but they choose to ignore it. Okay? They choose to focus on what they cannot control instead of what they can. Okay? So you may not be able to control your hair loss, but you can control, like I already said, your value to other people by being a helpful person that adds value by serving other people. I promise you that matters more, even to a girl, than your hair. And if you're so caught up because physical appearance matters so much when you're younger, then, like I've always said, work out then. Be like the cast of Fast and Furious. How do we know what Vin Diesel looks like without a shaved head? We don't really know, and we don't really care. All we know is ladies tend to find him attractive. He's got the muscles. He doesn't need the hair. So it's like, well, you can work out, right? If that's what you're trying to say. So that's what I want to leave you with. Are you a slave to your hair loss? Does it control you? If you're thinking about it every day and it controls your actual actions in life, if it keeps you from being social, then yeah, I'm going to say you're a slave to your hair loss. But I want you to sort that out, because that's the first step, is realizing that you are a slave to it, because you're not going to be able to break free until you recognize that. And there's no shame in admitting it. That's the first step in getting out of this. And that was part of my journey myself. Now, closing thought, because I know there's going to be 2 people who leave the comment and then they'll say, oh, well, Nick, you're a hypocrite. You're a slave to your hair loss. And like I already said in the video this weekend, when I said, because my hair loss makes me money, in that video that I made. And then people said, oh, well, your subscribership will go down, your views will go down. Nope, the app on my phone still shows consistently I'm getting more views and making more money and getting more subscribers, since I openly admitted that the number 1 reason I do these hair loss videos is because I make money. I'm honest. I'm a YouTuber who's actually honest about what's going on. Yes, I make money. That's the reason I do this. If I didn't make money, I wouldn't do it. But because I do make money, I'm inspired to do it, because that's capitalism, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. So there you go. Are you a slave to hair loss? That's what we need to sort out. We need to get to that point where we can figure this out. Are you a slave to your hair loss, to your hairline in 2017?